Chapter 1. Part 2. Agnoruk's return was not lost on the chief priestess, and she knew who the half-orc was. The woman sometimes went up to see him to ask him to comply with certain commands ordered by the goddess. Agnoruk did not usually talk to her, he only accepted the tasks with a simple affirmation. To the half-orc it was evident that the priestess was in Snowvale for him. The last mission entrusted by the goddess was a fortnight ago. A trio of vampires were getting very close to Snowy Valley and had to be finished off. Thanae hates vampires like any being that unnaturally prolongs death. The request was clear, to eliminate them. Agnoruk, who also hated vampires in a visceral way, accepted the request and set off. As he had grown older and as a result of the experience, Agnoruk knew that he had a special talent when it came to tracking the undead, probably due to his divine ancestry, so it was not difficult for him to find them. In addition, their prey were too young and inexperienced and too bloodthirsty. They had destroyed an isolated farm, causing a massacre near the forest of Temarin, which was what set off the alarms to the priests. So it was easy for him to find the cave where they were hiding in the daylight. The half-orc, however, waited until nightfall, and when the trio went out to look for new victims, he finished with them without mercy, but he tore out their fangs. They were very young. Deep down he felt sorry for them. Although their presence indicated that vampires resurfaced in an uncontrolled way, they usually used to move in a much more sibylline way, without attracting attention. When wandering groups appeared, it meant that their number was growing. It was none of his business. He dedicated himself to fulfilling the ritual. He beheaded them and burned their bodies to deliver the ashes to the priestess who would place them on the altar of Thanae. The half-orc kept the fangs of the vampires for himself, hiding them from the sunlight, until today, when he placed the 3 pairs of teeth on the stone. The fangs disintegrated when they came into contact with sunlight. Why had he kept the fangs? As a reminder that I had to fulfill a promise I had made a long time ago, perhaps too long. Agnoruk closed his eyes as the scent of vampire ashes transported him to this place. Like the first time, he could feel the flames again and the vampire king smiling as he confidently approached him, savoring a victory with his blood. What happened next was a bit blurry. I never remembered how it really happened. In his memory, the image of the decapitated head of the king in his hands crowded into his memory, in the background 2 figures that they watched in amazement at what had just happened. They were unreachable for Agnoruk since they were protected by a wall of flame. In his head resounded a promise made by a young half-orc swearing that he would end the curse they now carried, even if it took him a lifetime to achieve it. Then darkness. That was the most important mistake of his entire life. He had failed them and now they were blood-eaters. But he wasn't here for them, he was here for his father. He had never honored it as he deserved, and climbing this rock to the lady's viewpoint seemed to him the most appropriate thing to do now that he had time. He stayed for a long time, but he had to start the descent if he didn't want the night to catch him going down the most complicated part. The half-orc rose. With his hand he touched the surface of the stone. No trace of the fangs. The breeze had scattered the ashes. He closed his eyes and said goodbye to the place.